name's Angela Benford. I worked as a crime scene investigator for the city of Aurora for 18 years. And I want to thank you for inviting me to come and talk to your book club about some of the crime scene books that I found enjoyable and accurate. So I'm going to start with a couple of books written by forensic pathologists. And in Colorado, our forensic pathologists work closely with the coroner to determine cause and manner of death. So they're the actual doctors that do the autopsies. So first we have Mortal Evidence by Cyril Wett. Ripped from the headlines, we have tales about JonBenet Ramsey, O.J. Simpson, Tammy Wynette, 6 other cases. For most people, death is an ending. For forensic pathologists, it is only the beginning. Answers are rare, but theories abound in this book by Cyril Wett. Next, we have Dead Men Do Tell Tales by William R. Maples. So come with us as we delve into the world of forensic pathology. The science behind forensic pathology is just the beginning of Dr. Maples' stories. When you think of all the horror movies you've seen in your entire life, that is just a dull and dim fraction of the actual facts. So piece together the 10,000 bone fragments to help solve the Meeks Jennings case, which involved 4 bodies, 2 fires. Go back in time, it's 1918. Russia is still ruled by Tsar Nicholas, but not for much longer. Get a better understanding of what happened to his family, and maybe even discover if the rumored Anastasia even had a possibility of surviving. The place, Ocala National Forest, Florida. The crime, suicide. The problem? The gun was found 10 feet from the body. Learn more about these cases and many more by reading Dead Men Do Tell Tales. Now we're going to go back a little bit and deal with some of the problems that forensic labs face with Tainted Evidence by John Kelly and Philip Warren. They delve into the FBI's cases, including the original World Trade Center bombing. Why was the Unabomber so successful in hiding his identity? And what was missed in the O.J. Simpson case? If this is what happened with these highly profile, well-scrutinized cases, what is happening in the thousands of less publicized cases? 20 years after this book, in the age of the National Academy of Sciences push to get crime labs accredited and overseen, what problems here still exist? Start your search for the truth with Tainted Evidence. Now we're going to step away a little bit from the nonfiction books and go to The Scarpetta Factor by Patricia Cornwell. Plot twists abound as we work with medical examiner Kay Scarpetta to solve murders, bomb threats, missing persons. We are faced with death threats to our heroine and secrets from her friends. The body doesn't lie, she thinks during an argument about the timeline of a murder. Don't try and force the evidence to match the crime. Hear from Ben, her husband, as he deals with a patient who may have been possibly involved in one of the murders being investigated by his wife. Witness as her friend Lucy wraps technology around her finger and wonder what secrets are hidden between Kay and her detective friend Pete Marino. Like any good murder mystery, we arrive at a solution before we come to the end, But which clues lead us to that solution and which clues cause more confusion? Find out in The Scarpetta Factor by Patricia Cornwell. Okay, delving back into the nitty-gritty of death and bugs and biological processes, we have Corpse, The Struggle to Pinpoint Time of Death by Jessica Snyder Sachs. Pinpointing the time of death is not as easy as Hollywood would lead us to believe. Science rules as we follow forensic experts in the investigation to learn the difference between rigor, liver, and alter mortis and what they mean to time of death. Analyze stomach contents. What goes into discovering when a person died is more than just taking their temperature. Could involve what bugs are found living on the body and what body fluids have soaked into the soil. Color and smell also play a part. So getting to the darker side of death and pinpointing when that happened, check out Corpse. Going a little bit lighter, oddly enough, we're going to go with Stiff by Mary Roach. This is the investigation of the curious lives of human cadavers. So this first book by Mary Roach is what happens after we die. She covers decomposition, rigor mortis. She even makes a trip to the body farm in Tennessee, which is where scientists study what happens to the human body as it decomposes, left in various situations, such as just out in the field or tucked into the trunk of a car. We journey further than just the decomposition. Miss Roach investigates alternatives to burial and possibly even leaving your body to science. And while there is an audio version of this book, I highly recommend finding a physical copy. She has a lot of footnotes where she goes off topic, sometimes off color, a little bit humorous. For instance, the one where she's with scientists as they are video x-raying the brain to see what happens during a car accident. And she gets distracted thinking about a case where she saw they were video x-raying mice as they mated. So she discusses some of that type of stuff. So, get more about this version of Life After Death, check out Stiff by Mary Roach. And now we're going to go with A Zombie CSU by Jonathan Mayberry. Don't get intimidated by the size. This book mixes the fiction of a zombie apocalypse with the nonfiction of police and forensics work, and it's as enjoyable a read as it is meticulously researched. So follow along as we move through the police and forensics world with the premise: what if the first zombie to rise from the dead killed someone? Answer the 911 call. Go to the scene. Investigate the scene. Maybe even catch the killer. We hear from experts in police work, forensics, and zombies. That's right, there's tidbits from zombie movies and books throughout. And authors and actors answer tough questions like, zombies, fast or slow? This is a great way to delve into the world of forensics while still keeping your foot deeply ingrained in the escapism of a zombie apocalypse. So check out Zombie CSU by Jonathan Mayberry. So I often get asked what it's like to be a CSI. So let's ask Dana Coleman in Never Suck a Dead Man's Hand. So I've been a crime scene investigator for 10 years with the Baltimore County, Maryland Police Department. And I've seen some gruesome, weird things. And it's kind of colored my experiences to be just a little humorous. So it was a dark night. I was working the midnight shift. It was cold, windy. I got called out to go to a car accident and identify the victim. by taking their fingerprints. So I get out there, and my idea is to take their fingerprints onto a glossy white card and then use fingerprint powder to develop the prints, rather than using ink, which gets very messy. But it was so cold, and the victim had been there a little while, so their fingers were dry and cold and were not leaving prints behind on my card. So there's a technique that CSIs use to rehydrate a fingerprint, usually on a surface where we just, and then we're able to lift it. I decide to try that with my victim. So one by one, I pry the rigor mortis loose so that I can place his finger in my mouth. Careful not to let it touch my tongue or anywhere else in my mouth, just to get it warm enough, place it on the card. This works great for 8 fingers. I get to that 9th, and I'm prying the rigor mortis loose, trying to get that finger so that I can put it in my mouth and warm it up. And my hand slips, and the rigor mortis kicks in, and his hand locks on my jaw. Hear more stories from Dana in Never Suck a Dead Man's Hand. And then for a little bit of release, crime scene investigators need a break too. So a nice cozy mystery like And Then There Were None by Agatha Christie is just what they need. So follow along as we meet 10 different strangers as they're called to a mysterious island with even more mysterious circumstances. Read it, and as each victim finds their demise, start wondering, what are the police going to think when they find 10 bodies on a remote island? And Then There Were None by Agatha Christie. So I want to thank you. Hopefully some of these books will be interesting to you, and you will learn a little bit more about the world of crime scene investigation.